Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today for you guys, we have a tier list. I know it's been a while since I did one of these on my second channel. And we have NFL running backs. This is going to be interesting because this is after 2 weeks, guys. This is 2022, 2023. Obviously, some of the jerseys probably are not fixed yet, but this is a great tier list. Thank you to the person that made this. So we're going to be starting off with Rex Burkhead, who I guess he still plays for the Texans. I have no idea at this point, but I'm going to go see. Listen, I think that there is value with him. He's not bad on special teams. I didn't think he had an awful year last year with limited snaps. I thought with the Texans he didn't do that bad. I have no idea who he's with at this point. Clyde Edwards, I'm going to go be. I'm not a big Clyde Edwards-Helaire guy like last year. I was like, I don't know if this guy's really that great. He's looked good this year. I think, them losing Tyreek Hill means they're going to run it a little more. And I think Hilaire's just going to get better. So I think he's a B. I think he has potential to maybe move to A tier by the end of the year if he has a good year. Marlon Mack, he's with the Texans. I'm also going to go C. He was so good in Indiana. I'm dropping Rex Burkhead to D. He was so good in Indianapolis, and just now he's with the Texans, and pretty sure he's hurt because Dameon Pierce is the starting back. I don't know. We have two Green Bay running backs for the next one, Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. Listen, this is really tough, and this might be bad. I'm going to put them both in A. Listen. Aaron Jones, I think probably all football fans can agree. He's an A-tier running back. But I think with that being said, if A.J. Dillon, the production he shows on the Packers, I think if he's the starting running back for any other team, I think he could really do great. He's a great receiving back. He's a good back, goal line back. He does get a lot of touches on the Packers. Like, he does get some handoffs each week. I think he can be A. Listen, you can drop him in B. Let me know in the comments. If you want to roast me, that's fine. Also, Deandre Swift is an A. Listen, again, he hasn't really had that much time to prove himself, but I know in the future this guy is going to be legit. He already looks great, and he's just going to get better. So I'm definitely going to just put him in the A for now. David Montgomery here. B. He had a really good game against Green Bay last week. I didn't think he had a great year last year, in my opinion. But the Bears are going to run the ball a lot this year. And I think, obviously, they do have Khalil Herbert as well. I think, though, Montgomery's going to get a lot more handoffs. So he's gonna have a really good season for fantasy owners. If he can get touchdowns on the Bears, he's going to be really good this year for fantasy. Let me know if you want me to do fantasy videos. And next we have Dalvin Cook. Oh, man. Dalvin Cook. Listen, I'm dropping A.J. Dillon to B. But I think that he has the potential to be A. So I'm going to slide Dalvin Cook in A. Dalvin Cook's a little injury prone, I feel like. But I feel like he won't get injured this year. I think he could be pretty useful. Kirk Cousins had a really bad game against the Eagles. They're going to need that run game to be good. He just hasn't gotten it going quite yet so far, but he's going to be good. He's going to be good. Devin Singletary. I know a lot of people don't think Devin Singletary's that good, and I don't think he's that amazing. I don't think the Bills have an amazing run game, but you know who else doesn't have an amazing run game? The Dolphins. As a Dolphins fan, I can admit that we do not have a very good run game. We'll get into that later because there's actually 3 Dolphins running backs on here. And I like what we did in the offseason, getting these running backs. I think we just need to utilize them a little more because the O-line has not been too bad so far. So I think we use those running backs a little more because Chase Edmonds set up that touchdown to win the game. He got a 28-yard run, which set up the Tua pass to Waddle for the touchdown to win. But we'll get to those guys later. For now, we have Damien Harris. I think he's at the top of the B tier list. He does share a lot of snaps with Ramondre Stevenson, but with that being said, I feel like he's still kind of the lead back in New England. He had a lot of touchdowns last year. He's going to just continue to be productive this year, because Patriots really rely on that run game, that defense. Mac Jones is good, but they do rely on that run game defense. So Michael Carter. I'm actually going to drop him and see. I really like Michael Carter, but he's sharing a ton of snaps with Breece Hall. If anything, you could say Breece Hall is taking more of the workload since he's the rookie. I'm pretty sure this is Michael Carter's second year in the league. And I had Michael Carter for fantasy, and I was always excited to see him do well. But it's really tough because he's not going to get much snaps this year. And I think he's a good running back. I think if he does get those snaps, he's B tier and potentially an A tier. If they never drafted Breece Hall, I think he would be B tier and maybe A tier. So I do like Michael Carter a lot. Myles Gaskin, as an honest Dolphins fan, I would drop him in the C category, but the back of C category. He's a pretty good receiving back. He had that clutch moment against the Raiders in that one game where he had a really good game, but just hasn't been amazing. He doesn't get utilized. Last year, he did not get utilized. This year, hasn't really gotten anything going, but he is not our lead running back. He's like our third guy, maybe even the fourth. I think he's probably the third on the depth chart. Next, we have another Dolphins running back, Chase Edmonds. And if I put Gaskin in C, then I have to put Edmonds in B. And like I said, Edmonds had a good rush last game. But other than that, he did not get any handoffs really last game. Mostert, who we're going to rank now, we're also just going to put him in B. I think Mostert's a little better than Edmonds. They're both good at receiving and running, but they're not like Derrick Henry. They're not going to get 100-yard rush games. They're going to get like 50 rush yards, 20, 30 receiving yards. That's good, though, but we definitely need to hand the ball off more against the Bills this week. Hopefully we can get past that tough defense. I'm not sure how that will go. We got Leonard Fournette. I'm going to put him in A. I'm going to put him in B. Yeah, I'm going to put him at the top of B. I like Leonard Fournette a lot, though. Tom Brady's obviously struggling, so I think maybe they hand the ball off a lot more to Leonard Fournette. He's just a machine. I really like Leonard Fournette, especially when he was with the Jags. I like him now with the Bucs too, but especially when he was with the Jags, he was just on. Najee Harris, what to think? He's not really off to an amazing start this year. I was going to draft him in fantasy. Kind of glad I didn't because the first 2 weeks have been just kind of rough. I'm going to put him in A, though, because he has the potential to be just an elite running back. I just think, I might have multiple in S tier, by the way, just to let you guys know. I think Najee Harris, though, he's going to get a lot of rushes. He's going to get good receptions, too. It's going to be tough for him to get touchdowns this year because the Steelers' offense looks, with Mitch Trubisky not doing so great. But then we have Nick Chubb. I want to put Nick Chubb in S tier because I really think he's one of the best running backs in the league. And he really almost won the Browns that game. I'm going to put him in A tier. Again, Kareem Hunt does steal some of that workload from him. I think he gets more of those touches. If they didn't have Kareem Hunt, Chubb's probably an S tier because his production would go up. But while we're at it, let's rank Kareem Hunt. I think Kareem Hunt's a little underrated. I would put him just somewhere in the middle of B. Probably the best backup running back in the league. I think that's fair to say. Next we have J.K. Dobbins. I'm just going to put him at the end of B tier because we can't really tell with him yet. He's just been really, really injury prone here. Out pretty much all of last year, if not, it might have been all of last year. He's out right now. He was out against the Dolphins, which I got to say, I feel like we maybe would have lost that game if Dobbins was in because he would have made a little bit of an impact running the ball. So, next we have Joe Mixon. who's also going to slide in that A tier, right around there maybe. I don't know, maybe I have a lot in A tier. I don't know. I think this is good so far. Joe Mixon, again, he just never seems to do amazing for me in fantasy. But I know how good of a back he is. And he has really good weeks then. But so far, the Bengals overall are just off to a terrible start. The O-line's bad. You could argue, Joe Burrow's not playing well. But his O-line has been terrible for him. But Joe Mixon, not off to a good start. But you know he's an elite running back. And speaking of good running backs, James Robinson is in the B tier. Only his second year. He's sharing the workload with Travis Etienne, who's not on this list. But I would put Etienne as B because it's his rookie year. James Robinson, though, just is great. Amazing year last year. Again, Etienne comes in now. He's sharing the workload with him. But I still think maybe that Robinson's going to get more touches and maybe have a better year. I don't know. I think that run game's going to be pretty good for Jacksonville. And Trevor Lawrence looks good. The Jags look overall really good. The defense isn't too bad. Like, they've been pretty good so far. So Jonathan Taylor, just welcome to the S tier. I mean, he had a terrible game last week. Week 1 was pretty good. But this is not on him, guys. The Colts, I think, are having just the worst year out of any team. They play the Texans. You gotta win it. They play the Jags. You gotta win it. They lose both. Now, they were both away games, but there's no excuses. I mean, I can understand maybe losing to the Jags because the Jags are really improved. But the Texans, you tied. I know you tied, but you cannot. Like, the Texans put up a great fight against them, but you have to beat the Texans and try and beat the Jags. You got to get those games. You got to win those games to be a playoff team. And now they're playing the Chiefs this week. Now, they are at home, and they're really hungry for a win. But I still think that the Chiefs are probably going to win just because, like, Patrick Mahomes, I mean, he's pretty good. Austin Eckler, again, S tier. I think overall is a running back, A, but I'd say he's the best receiving running back in the league. He's, like, very shifty, he's fast, gets lots of receptions. He's a fantasy machine. That's why I got him this year. He's just been off to a bad start. The Chargers have not been off to a bad start. They're 1-1. They're playing decent football. He just needs to rack up the touchdowns like he did last year. Then we have Josh Jacobs. Oh, man, where do I put Josh Jacobs? B. I think he's been a little injury prone. The Raiders' run game's like, it's iffy. I mean, they're relying more on the pass now with Devontae Adams. So I think maybe Josh Jacobs doesn't have an amazing year, but I have him at B. And you know who else I also have B? Rashad Penny, very underrated running back. He absolutely sold last week for me in fantasy. Got 1.5 fantasy points. But I still think he's underrated. I'm hoping he breaks out soon. I mean, Geno Smith's starting to struggle. Last week really struggled against that Broncos defense, which is good defense, but I don't know. James Conner's also B. Again, a touchdown machine last year. My goodness, James Conner was great last year. Again, he's been pretty good. I haven't really followed the Cardinals much. I just know they made an amazing comeback against the Raiders. Cam Akers, I'm going to go C. Partly for the fact that he sold my fantasy team in week 1. Yeah, he got 0 points in week 1. Listen, week 2, he didn't get a touchdown. Again, I feel like Darrell Henderson has a lot more workload than him. And Cam Akers was really expected to have a good season. And I'm overall just kind of sad. I like Cam Akers. I think he's good. I just think he kind of lost his running back 1 spot for no reason here. But I do like Henderson as well. Next we have Eli Mitchell. I think is he hurt or did I just not see? Because I know that, Trey Lance got injured. That really stinks. But at least they do have a decent running backup in Jimmy G. I'm going to go B for Eli Mitchell because as a rookie, he showed some great signs. Again, this B tier list, the B part of this tier list is going to be crazy. But I'm going to go Saquon an A. Listen, Saquon is a beast. You can't tell me he's not a beast. He's just so injury prone. His O-line's also not very good at all. But I'm telling you, you put this guy on a good O-line, my goodness. Let's see who's got a good O-line, like the Colts maybe. I'm not saying it's all the O-line because his injuries have been, I don't know how he gets hurt so much, but he's just amazing, I think he'll be good. It just stinks to lose those first couple of years to injuries. Tony Pollard, I'm putting in the B category. I'm just going to put him randomly. Listen, Tony Pollard is so underrated. I'm gonna put Zeke in B, but I think Tony Pollard is going to have a better year than Zeke. And I don't even know if that's really a debate because Pollard's been better through 2 weeks. Pollard's probably going to get more of the workload. I do like Zeke, but I just think, Pollard's just going to... I could put Zeke in C, but I'm going to put him in B. Miles Sanders, Boston Scott. Boston Scott I'm going to put in C. He's probably a B, sorry. He's probably a C running back, but I think he's a little underrated. He's a really small running back, but that speed, really good. Miles Sanders, again, he's B. I don't know. I don't know where to put Miles Sanders. It's kind of tough because Jalen Hurts runs a lot, so it's tough for Sanders to get a lot. Javonte Williams, a stud. I'm going to put him in A. I think he's just great. McCaffrey is an A. I'm not putting McCaffrey in S tier. I'm sorry. He's too injury prone, but I will put him at the top of an A pretty much with Nick Chubb tied there with Nick Chubb. He's so injury prone, but he's going to be good. Again, he's one of those guys like Eckler, dual threat running back, receiving good, running good. Who knows? Maybe he'll do really well with Baker Mayfield this year. Next, we have Cordell Patterson. Listen, B. Yeah, B. I was going to put him in A, but I think that's a bit of a reach. Again, dual threat running back. He can return for you. He can run. He can catch. He's just all you want. He's like that utility player. He's like a Chris Taylor, like maybe a hockey player that plays left wing, right wing, center. Maybe like kind of like Brake-Chuck, I guess. Brake-Chuck plays left wing, center. You could probably stick him at right wing. Anyways, Alvin Kamara is A. I don't think anyone's questioning this one. He's probably right where Joe Mixon is. Chris Carson retired from the NFL. He had a great career. I wish him the best here. But I just really sad about his injuries. That is why he retired, if you guys didn't know. He was, like, we talk about injury-prone players, and I feel really bad for Chris Carson. He was hurt all the time. But overall, I would put him in B tier, and I would say that he could be deserving of an A spot as well. I don't know who this is. Is it Jeff Wilson? I'm going to say it's Jeff Wilson Jr. If it's Jeff Wilson Jr., I'd put him in the B tier. So I'm not sure. Hot take here, Antonio Gibson C tier. I don't know. I think McKissick is a little underrated as well. And then they saved the king for last. At the beginning of the year, I said Derrick Henry, best running back in the league. I don't know what I was saying. He hasn't had a bad year. And the O-line doesn't look amazing for Tennessee. But he had like 20 rush yards last night or something. He had a touchdown, but he was just getting stuffed behind the line. Hasn't stiff-armed anybody yet. But let me know what you guys think of this tier list. Overall, I think it was solid. Obviously, there's some maybe I reached on. But, let me know. Some of these guys, again, I think I put them high because I know their future, their ceiling's good. And maybe some of these guys I put lower because they're at the back end of their career or they're really injury prone. But yeah, let me know if you want to see any more tier lists or NFL videos, NHL videos, NBA videos, baseball videos. I can do it all. Maybe not professional soccer. I cannot do any soccer. I only know 2 players. So, yeah, but that's going to do it, and I hope you guys have a great